Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Welcome to part 2 of the 2023 Major League Baseball predictions show. This part of the show, I'm going to do superlatives, predict the All-Star rosters, and some other superlatives and bold predictions and such, and some betting stuff at the end. So, best rookies. We'll go team by team. Arizona, Corbin Carroll. Atlanta, Jared Schuster. Baltimore, Gunnar Henderson. Boston, Tristan Casas. Chicago Cubs, Hayden Wesneski. Chicago White Sox, Oscar Colas. Cincinnati, Spencer Strider. Cleveland, Bo Naylor. Colorado, Ezekiel Tovar. Detroit, Joey Wentz. Houston, Hunter Brown. Royals, Drew Waiters. Angels, Logan O'Hoppe. Dodgers, Miguel Vargas. Miami, Jordan Groshans. Milwaukee, Garrett Mitchell. Minnesota, Simeon Woods Richardson. Mets, Francisco Alvarez. Yankees, Anthony Volpe. Oakland, Tyler Soderstrom. Philadelphia, Andrew Painter. Pittsburgh, Andy Rodriguez. St. Louis, Jordan Walker. San Diego, Jay Grimm. San Francisco, Heliot Ramos. Seattle, Emerson Hancock. Tampa Bay, Taj Bradley. Texas, Josh Jung. Toronto, Yosfer Zuleta. And Washington, Thad Ward. Most improved player on each team doesn't necessarily mean a breakout season. It just means the player who I think is going to be the most improved on each team. Arizona, Alec Thomas. Atlanta, Sean Murphy. Baltimore, Adley Rutschman. Boston, Tanner Houck. Chicago Cubs, Justin Steele. Chicago White Sox, Andrew Vaughn. Cincinnati, Hunter Green. Cleveland, Oscar Gonzalez. Colorado, Ryan McMahon. Detroit, Riley Green. Houston, Jeremy Pena. Kansas City, Bobby Witt Jr. LA Angels, Reed Detmers. LA Dodgers, Brewstar Graterol. Miami, Jazz Chisholm. Milwaukee, Luis Urias. Minnesota, Alex Kirilloff. New York Mets, Drew Smith. New York Yankees, Oswaldo Cabrera. Oakland, Shea Langoliers. Philadelphia, Brandon Marsh. Pittsburgh, Cabrian Hayes. St. Louis, Dylan Carlson. San Diego, Adrian Morjon. San Francisco, Joey Bart. Seattle, George Kirby. Tampa Bay, Jose Siri. Texas, Jonah Heim. Toronto, Santiago Espanyol. And Washington, Keibert Ruiz. All right, disappointment players. Players who I think will be disappointments this year. Arizona, Madison Bumgarner. Atlanta, Oswaldo Garcia. Baltimore, Kyle Gibson. Boston, Kenley Jansen. Chicago Cubs, Young Gomes. Chicago White Sox, Liam Hendricks. Cincinnati, Joe Votto. Cleveland, Stephen Kwan. Colorado, Mike Moustakas. Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. Houston, Michael Brantley. Kansas City, Aroldis Chapman. LA Angels, Tyler Anderson. LA Dodgers, Miguel Rojas. Miami, Johnny Cueto. Milwaukee, Rowdy Tellez. Minnesota, Joey Gallo. New York Mets, Eduardo Escobar. New York Yankees, Nestor Cortez. Oakland, Seth Brown. Philadelphia, Craig Kimbrell. Pittsburgh, Carlos Santana. St. Louis, Adam Wainwright. San Diego, Nelson Cruz. San Francisco, Michael Conforto. Seattle, Marco Gonzalez. Tampa Bay, Tyler Glasnow. Texas, Nathan Eovaldi. Toronto, Chad Green. And Washington, Patrick Corbin. All right, make or break years. Players who I think are facing make or break seasons with their respective teams. Arizona, Kyle Lewis. Atlanta, Huascar Yanoa. Baltimore, Adam Frazier. Boston, James Paxton. Chicago Cubs, Adbert Alzolay. Chicago White Sox, Reynaldo Lopez. Cincinnati, Justin Dunn. Cleveland, Touki Toussaint. Colorado, Kyle Freeland. Detroit, Jake Rogers. Houston, Mauricio Dubon. Kansas City, Daniel Lynch. LA Angels, Matt Thaiss. LA Dodgers, Trace Thompson. Miami, Braxton Garrett. Milwaukee, Christian Yelich. Minnesota, Trevor Lawrence. New York Mets, Alicia Hernandez. New York Yankees, Aaron Hicks. Oakland, Christian Pache. Philadelphia, Bryson Stott. Pittsburgh, Jai-Man Choi. St. Louis, Paul DeYoung. San Diego, Austin Nola. San Francisco, Austin Slater. Seattle, Jared Kelenic. Tampa Bay, Manuel Margot. Texas, Dane Dunning. Toronto, Danny Jansen. And Washington, Victor Robles. All right, comeback seasons and bounce back seasons. Players who I think will have either a bounce back season or a comeback season from an injury or a down year. Arizona, Ketel Marte. Atlanta, Ozzie Albies. Baltimore, Cedric Mullins. Boston, Enrique Hernandez. Chicago Cubs, Trey Mancini. Chicago White Sox, Yasmani Grandal. Cincinnati, Will Myers. Well, I should say Yohan Moncada for the White Sox because I picked him for runner-up for comeback player of the year, so that's kind of smart if I did that. So that's a mistake by me. So honorable mention for Grandal. How about that? Cincinnati, Will Myers. Cleveland, Zach Plesac. Colorado, Herman Marquez. Detroit, Eduardo Rodriguez. Houston, Martin Maldonado. Kansas City, Ryan Yarbrough. LA Angels, Anthony Rendon. LA Dodgers, Dustin May. Miami, Jorge Soler. Milwaukee, Jesse Winker. Minnesota, Max Kepler. Mets, Jimmy Yacobanis. Yankees, Michael King. Oakland, Ramon Laureano. Philadelphia, Nicholas Castellanos. Pittsburgh, Andrew McCutchen. St. Louis, Jack Flaherty. San Diego, Fernando Tatis Jr. San Francisco, Mitch Haniger. Seattle, Diego Castillo. Tampa Bay, Brandon Lowe. Texas, Taylor Hearn. Toronto, Matt Chapman. And Washington, Hamir Candelario. All right, All-Stars. Guys who I think will be on the All-Star team this year. So, American League starters at catcher. Adley Rutschman, Baltimore Orioles. How about that? First base, Vlad Guerrero Jr., second base, Jose Altuve, shortstop, Carlos Correa, third base, Jose Ramirez, outfield, Randy Arozarena, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, DH, Shohei Ohtani. And your starting pitcher in the All-Star game, Jacob deGrom, Texas Rangers. American League reserves, Salvador Perez, Andrew Vaughn, Jose Abreu, Mark Semien, Wander Franco, Rafael Devers, Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Tucker, Riley Green, Byron Buxton, and Yordan Alvarez. Pitchers, I have deGrom as the starter of the game. Alek Manoah, Dylan Cease, Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, Shane Bieber, Shane McClanahan, Emmanuel Clase, Ryan Presley, Felix Bautista, Trevor May, and Jose Leclerc. National League starters. At catcher, JT Realmuto. First base, Paul Goldschmidt. Second base, Ozzie Albies. Shortstop, Trey Turner. Third base, Nolan Arenado. Outfield, Juan Soto, Brian Reynolds, Mookie Betts, and at DH, Jorge Soler. National League reserves, Will Smith, Keibert Ruiz, Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson, Luis Arraez, Francisco Lindor, Manny Machado, Ronald Acuna Jr., Kyle Schwarber, Corbin Carroll, and Chris Bryant. National League pitchers. Starting the All-Star game, I have Max Fried. The rest of the starters, Sandy Alcantara, Julio Urias, Max Scherzer, Justin Steele, Corbin Burns, Zach Wheeler. Relievers, Devin Williams, Josh Bader, Joe Mantiply, Alexis Diaz, and Tyler Rogers. All right, is there any guys that I think that could be like Ewing theories for each team? Like a guy that isn't on the team anymore and the team randomly gets better? The Nationals with Juan Soto, I know that was last year that they traded him, but I don't think there's a way they're better without him. I'm trying to think of some good ones. Maybe the Giants are better than expected. It's like the weird Ewing theory where they don't get the guys that they thought they were getting in the offseason and they're better than expected, like without Correa and Judge. Maybe the Astros without Verlander is a good one for Ewing theory. That's probably the best bet one to actually work out. Some other ones, Twins without Correa because that's not going to work because he's back. A lot of the big free agents went back to their current teams like Judge and Correa. The only one I could think about is the Astros without Verlander. I mean, DeGrom shirt and Verlander's a wash, so I can't say the Mets without DeGrom. But there isn't many I could, like, obvious ones. I mean, all the obvious ones were like ones from last year, like the Braves without Freddie Freeman and things like that. Oh, I thought of a good one. The Red Sox without Xander Bogaerts. That'd be weird if they were randomly better without Xander Bogaerts. That's a good one. The Braves without Dansby Swanson. I guess. But I think the Red Sox without Bogaerts is a good one if the Red Sox are better than expected. But yeah, there's not that many Ewing theory candidates out there. I mean, the only one that was successful was Bryce Harper after he left the Nats, and the Nats won the World Series the next year without Bryce Harper. So that's the only one that really worked out in baseball. I mean, Verlander maybe. But we'll see about that. All right, bold predictions for each team. This is a fun one. There's some fun ones in here. All right, the Arizona Diamondbacks. My bold prediction for them is that they'll have multiple All-Stars, and I'm going to say it's Corbin Carroll and Joe Mantiply. The Atlanta Braves. Max Fried, top 3 in the National League in ERA, strikeouts, and wins. I think that's a real good one. And he's going to be in play for the pitching Triple Crown, and I think he's the Cy Young winner, and he starts the All-Star game. I think it's a dream year for Max Fried. And the World Series championship, too, because I have the Braves winning it all. Baltimore. Multiple Rookie of the Year finalists. Yeah, I said it. Gunnar Henderson and Grayson Rodriguez, despite not starting the season in the Orioles rotation. It's going to be those two and Anthony Volpe, with Volpe winning it. The Boston Red Sox. I'm going to say they trade Kike Hernandez to the Atlanta Braves for shortstop Amburius Tavares, righty Seth Keller, and righty Tanner Gordon. So I think Kike Hernandez is going to be really good on Boston, good utility guy. I could see him going to Atlanta, filling shortstop and left field. And if they call up that prospect that they have at shortstop, the first-round pick from a few years ago, then I could see Kike being like the occasional like utility guy, filling in for injury players, pinch hitter in the right spots. The Chicago Cubs. Seiya Suzuki leads team in home runs, stands starting the season on the injured list. I think that's a good one. Chicago White Sox acquire Jonathan Scope from the Detroit Tigers for righty Gregory Santos and righty Franklin Herman. They need a second baseman. And I think Scope will be a good fit there in Chicago and fit well in the bottom of their lineup. The Cincinnati Reds. Hunter Green, ERA more than 1 run lower than last year. I think he's poised for a big season, Hunter Green. The Cleveland Guardians. Shane Bieber will throw a no-hitter. I think that'd be fun. There's a lot of weak lineups in the American League Central. I could see him doing it against the Tigers or the Royals, or maybe even against the Twins if they're sitting some guys. The Colorado Rockies. Chris Bryant over 35 home runs. I like this one a lot. I think that he's poised for a big bounce back year, especially in that ballpark. And maybe he gets traded. Who knows? Detroit. We won't see Casey Mize this season. That's a sad one. I hope I'm wrong about this. And I don't think that Miguel Cabrera is going to have the same type of farewell season that Albert Pujols has. That's just a bonus prediction for the Tigers. The Houston Astros. Framber Valdez will be a finalist for the AL Cy Young Award. So I have him finishing third for this award behind Alek Manoah and Shane Bieber. I really think that Valdez will have a big season. And maybe he makes the All-Star team, too, as like an injury replacement or whatever. Or maybe he opts not to pitch in the All-Star game. Here's a juicy one. The Kansas City Royals will trade Salvador Perez to the Tampa Bay Rays for shortstop Carson Williams, lefty Mason Montgomery, outfielder Cameron Misner, and righty Colby White. I think Perez wants to go to a winning team, and I think the Royals can get something for him. AJ Melendez can slide right in at catcher and replace Perez, and the Rays upgrade that position to try to go for it in the American League. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim this is the best prediction on the board, will trade Shohei Ohtani with David Fletcher to the Philadelphia Phillies for Bryson Stott, righty Micah Bell, second baseman Han-Yu Lee, righty Andrew Baker, righty Francisco Morales, and righty Hans Krause. Rhys Hoskins done for the year, ACL injury, and who knows, maybe his Phillies tenure's done too. And maybe the Phils sign Ohtani to an extension. I can see them trying to go for it and try to repeat their World Series appearance. I don't have them in the postseason because maybe Bryce isn't back in time. And maybe there's more injuries and such. But I'm going to say they extend Ohtani too. And I think Philly is just full of stars. And they'll just have a loaded rotation. And don't forget, Aaron Nola contract year too. So that factors in to this Ohtani to Philly prediction. Which I absolutely love this prediction. Like, I really hope this happens. And maybe part of me is just saying that because that means Ohtani won't win American League MVP, and that award opens up, and that just opens up Pandora's box for everything. Because I love chaos, and that would be chaos. And here is another chaotic trade. The Los Angeles Dodgers will acquire shortstop Oswald Peraza and righty Yuendrys Gomez from the Yankees for righty Ryan Papuai and outfielder James Outman. Yankees need a pitcher that can either start or relieve for them in the wake of the Frankie Montas injury. And who knows with Luis Severino and even Carlos Rodon. And Outman could be somebody that could replace Aaron Hicks in left field. Or they could use him as another trade piece down the road. Or wherever. And then LA needs a shortstop. They lost Gavin Lux. And they could use Peraza there, and they could put Lux at second base, and then Vargas they can use in the outfield. So they have some flexibility with their young players here. So I really like this, what I'm going to call a rare, highly touted prospects for highly touted prospects trade that Phils needs for both teams. The Miami Marlins will acquire Sean Manaea from the San Francisco Giants, righty Jacob Miller, infielder Marco Vargas, and righty Evan Fitterer. Obviously, the Giants have a loaded rotation, and Miami, I don't know if Johnny Cueto is going to work out there, and they have a lot of young guys who have kind of been flameouts. And I could see Miami going for somebody like Manaea. Can you just totally see that from the Marlins? Just typical Marlins. Or maybe they throw in Braxton Garrett in that trade. Who knows? But I kind of like that deal for both sides. Milwaukee acquires Corey Dickerson from the Washington Nationals for righty Carlos Rodriguez and outfielder Jace Avina. Corey Dickerson fills a need in the outfield for Milwaukee. He can play either position, left or right. We'll see how Christian Yelich performs this season. But it'd be Dickerson, Yelich, and Gary Mitchell in the outfield for Milwaukee. And I like Dickerson a lot, and I think he can mash in that ballpark. The Minnesota Twins trade Bailey Ober and righty Alejandro Hidalgo to the Nationals for first baseman Dom Smith and righty Hunter Harvey. So this is kind of like a need trade for a need trade. So Ober, a good young arm for the Nats rotation, just to get some assets there, and then another prospect for two guys that I think the Twins could use both in their lineup and in their pitching staff, respectively. The New York Mets acquire David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates for righty Blade Tidwell, righty Joel Diaz, and outfielder Sandy Consuegra. Mets obviously need a closer with Diaz going down. I like Bednar a lot. He could help them. And David Robertson goes back to the setup role. Yankees acquire Ian Happ from the Chicago Cubs for righty Will Warren, outfielder Elijah Dunham, and righty Sean Boyle. I feel like Happ and the Yankees are a match made in heaven. They have a needed left field. They get Happ for a little bit of a cheaper price. And then I have them getting that guy from the Dodgers too. So maybe that's like a platoon situation. If Outman exceeds expectations or something. And I like the idea of Hap in the Bronx, and then he could split some DH time with Stanton, maybe even play a little infield. So they have some versatility there with this trade as well. The Oakland Athletics trade Trevor May to the Cleveland Guardians for righty Xavier Curry and lefty Doug Nikhazy. Nice trade for the Guardians getting a reliever, and then Oakland gets 2 pitchers back. Philadelphia Phillies. So this is the last. This is the first one that's not a trade in a while in these predictions. Bryce Harper not back until after Memorial Day. Tommy John surgery kind of makes me nervous, and it's been hush-hush about Bryce. I know the cliche saying is no news is good news, but kind of worried about this one. And I think he'll be back before the All-Star break, but I don't think he'll be back before Memorial Day. Pittsburgh Pirates. Andrew McCutchen has a respectable season. Like I said, I think he'll bring a leadership quality, and I think he'll be motivated to play back at home in Pittsburgh. And I wouldn't be shocked if him and Miggy Cabrera get legacy selections for the All-Star game. Although Miggy got one last year, but I don't think Miggy is going to have a good season. This is my gut feeling. But I think McCutchen, will be motivated back in Pittsburgh and help the young guys there. The St. Louis Cardinals, for the second year in a row, they'll have the National League MVP, except it will be Nolan Arenado this time. The San Diego Padres, Juan Soto MVP finalist. I said I had him as the runner-up, and I'm sticking with that as my bold prediction. The San Francisco Giants will finish in the bottom 3 of the National League in home runs. I think that's just a bad offense. I'm sorry. It's for certain that the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves, the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Cubs even, maybe even the Reds with that ballpark, Pittsburgh, even with their young guys, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks even, the Rockies at Coors. So I think they're in the bottom 3 in home runs. I really do. And you could even argue Miami with some of its talent there. Seattle Mariners will acquire Jesus Aguilar from the Oakland Athletics for righty Isaiah Campbell and first baseman Robert Perez Jr. They need a DH type of player in their lineup and a guy that can split some first base time in platoon situations. Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lau will more than quadruple his home run total from last year. Brandon Lau had a bad year last year. There's no way of getting around it. He only played in 65 games, hit 221 with 8 homers. He'll hit over 33 homers. He will. He'll be in the mid-30s, especially playing in those small ballparks in the American League East. Toronto Yankees, Boston, even Oppo Field, Baltimore. Texas will acquire Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates for outfielder Evan Carter, infielder Justin Fosquet, righty Cole Winn, and lefty Cody Bradford. Love this deal for Texas. They need a center fielder. Uncertainty about Leody Tavares. Brian Reynolds is an upgrade over that. And I think that they want to get to the postseason, and they could use more star power in that lineup. So I like that ad for Texas. The Toronto Blue Jays acquire Kyle Hendricks from the Chicago Cubs for righty Sabra Berze, lefty Adam Mako, and second baseman outfielder Davis Schneider. Like that deal for Toronto. He's an upgrade over Yusei Kikuchi in that rotation, who was awful this past season. I won't be shocked if he's designated for assignment, Kikuchi. So that's a bonus prediction for you. And then the Washington Nationals, I'm going to say Mackenzie Gore leads the team in ERA. I really think he is going to turn out to be a great find in that Padres trade. And I like Mackenzie Gore. I think there's a chance he has an ERA under 3, and it wouldn't be stunning if he made the All-Star team too, maybe as a reserve. All right, so there's the predictions for each team. Other guys that could be designated for assignment. I threw out Yusei Kikuchi. I think Josh Donaldson of the Yankees could be one that could be designated for assignment. Maybe even Aaron Hicks of the Yankees. Maybe Kenley Jansen at Boston. Madison Bumgarner, maybe. Patrick Corbin. A couple guys I can come up with that I could see being DFA'd. Not Joey Gallo again, right? That would be funny. But yeah, there's a couple I came up with on the top of my head. Maybe Omar Narvaez of the Mets, Mark Canha of the Mets, Eduardo Escobar of the Mets. Maybe Marcell Ozuna if it's bad with the Braves. So, couple guys for you right there. All right, last but not least, I'm going to do some futures that I'm going to give out. There's a lot of them that I want to look at. And I'm going to bet on 5 of them. All right, we'll start with World Series. I gave out one today on the podcast with the Brewers at 35-1. If I had another value play, let's pick an American League team that has some value in the World Series winter market. The Texas Rangers at 50-1. The case is that they pull off the Reynolds trade that I proposed. Maybe another trade for somebody else. Not Ohtani, because I don't think the Angels would trade him in their division, let alone the American League. But I could see them pulling off another type of trade. Rotation's great, led by DeGrom. Bullpen's really good. Maybe they get another arm. And maybe the Stros miss Verlander. Maybe the Mariners take a step back. So 50-1 for the Rangers, I think, is really good value for a World Series future. A league winner. The Guardians at 12-1 is my favorite one on the board. I love that one. I have them in the World Series. National League future that I like. Milwaukee at 15-1. I gave them out for the World Series, so why not give them out as a National League future as well. Division winners. So in the AL Central, I think the White Sox at 3-1 has some value. Back end of the rotation comes together. Moncada and Grandal bounce back. So the value plays the White Sox at 3-1. Toronto's 2-1 to win the American League East. I absolutely love that. And I picked them to win the Division 2. The Orioles at 25-1 is an excellent value play as well. Say if the Yankees fall apart, Blue Jays, Matt Chapman doesn't bounce back. The bullpen stinks. Tampa, their diamonds in the rough don't come into fruition, and the Red Sox are just a mess. So, Baltimore, that's your case for Baltimore, 25-1. And also, projected leap from Rutschman, Cedric Mullins bouncing back, Rodriguez being great in that rotation. AL West, there's value on the Rangers at 10-1. Same reasons why I mentioned earlier. NL Central, Milwaukee has value at plus 165. I'm surprised that Toronto has a better number to win its division at 2-1 than Milwaukee does at plus 165. Like, what is that? Like, come on. And then the National League East, I guess the Phillies at 4-1 make the case that Bryce is back sooner than expected. Maybe they do pull off the Ohtani trade that I proposed. Stott makes a jump. Bohm makes a jump. Suarez back sooner than expected. Painter back sooner than expected. And then the Padres at plus 120 to win the National League West is just great value. I think they should be favored and not the Dodgers. But that is just value as well. All right. To make the playoffs, one that I love is Texas at 2-1, and then Baltimore at plus 320 from like a value standpoint. And then any no's. What's the no for the Phillies? Plus 154, I'd bet that. The Yankees, though, is plus 330. Whew, make the case for that. That would be Rodon out longer than expected. Severino out longer than expected. Judge doesn't repeat or even come close to last year. Anthony Volpe's not good. Their bullpen's not good. Clay Holmes is the guy from the second half of last year rather than the guy from the first half of the year. So that's the case for Yankees plus 330 to not make the postseason. Milwaukee is even money either way. Dodgers to miss is plus 520. That would be an interesting case. That would be Dustin May not back to form. Clayton Kershaw regresses. Brusdar Graterol isn't better. The closer situation's not figured out. They don't trade for a shortstop. JD Martinez doesn't work out. So that's the case for the no, and obviously more injuries. The White Sox, yes, is plus 128. I don't have them in the postseason. What's the Red Sox? Yes, plus 310. Whoo! The case for the Red Sox would be, oh my God, the Yankees falling apart, the Blue Jays not living up the hype, Rays falling apart, Orioles regressing, and Rafael Devers puts the team on his back. Orioles to make it, pretty much the same thing as I mentioned for the case for them to win their division. Mariners no is plus 122. The Blue Jays no is plus 198, so that's almost a 2-1 for no. The Nationals, yes, is 30-1. That's hilarious. Texas, yes, is plus 205. I like that a lot. The Rays, no, plus 152. I like that one, too. I made the case for that already. But the Marlins, yes, at plus 390. The case for them is that the Philly guys aren't back soon. They don't make that proposed Ohtani trade. Verlander and Scherzer are old. And the Braves have some injuries again. And that would take some leaps from Jazz Chisholm and some guys in the rotation, and maybe they pull off a trade. So the plus at 390 there is kind of juicy. The Astros, no, plus 490. Whew, that case would be they miss Verlander. The young guys don't take the next step. McCullers out longer than expected. Altuve out longer than expected. And bullpen not as good. But the bet against the Astros in this scenario wouldn't be the not bet on them to miss the playoffs. It'd be the bet on the Mariners or Texas to win the division. Win totals. All right, so I love Braves over 95.5 at minus 115. Under 78.5 for the Red Sox at minus 115. Someone has to be bad in the AL East. White Sox over 83.5 wins at plus 106. I like. Guardians over. I wish that was at a better number from a value standpoint. I would have to lay minus 128 for over 86.5 wins. Astros over 95.5 wins. I like at minus 108. Angels under 82.5 at minus 105 is probably my favorite one so far because that's the gift that keeps on giving. Staying away from the Dodgers. Brewers over 86.5 plus 110 I like. Mets over 93.5 minus 106 I like, but not as much as some of the other ones I see because of the Diaz thing and so I don't know. Yankees 93.5. That's right on the money. I'm not touching that one. Oakland, that's right on the money. Phillies under 88.5 wins minus 118. I like. Giants under 81.5. That's at minus 122. Padres over 93.5 at minus 105. I love that one. Mariners over 86.5. That's minus 134. Cardinals over 88.5 is minus 120. That's a lot of juice. Rays under 89.5. I kind of like it minus 110. Texas over 81.5 at minus 105, I like. Toronto over 91.5 at minus 110, I love that one. More regular season wins, Yankees versus Mets. I would take the Mets over the Yankees, minus 114, over the Yankees at minus 106. A's or Nationals. That is so funny. Who do I have with a better record between those two teams? I'm going to look. The Nats I have at 60 and Oakland I have 58. So I guess the Nats at minus 105 compared to Oakland at minus 115. That's funny. More regular season wins, Yankees or Dodgers. Dodgers are favored, minus 152. Yanks at plus 124. The case is that their guys are back sooner than expected. Dodgers have more injuries. Kershaw's old. But I'm going to stay away from that one. And then Astros or Braves, more regular season wins. Astros minus 105, Braves minus 115. I'll take the Braves at minus 115. I like that one a lot. All right, player awards. Juan Soto's the favorite, a plus 550 for National League MVP, which is wild. My guy is 12-1 at Nolan Arenado. That's a good value pick. I'm surprised Arenado's in double-digit odds. Value guy. It has to be Will Smith at 150-1. He's going to be hitting in the heart of the Dodgers lineup. They're going to win over 90 games. Maybe they win that division. And he has the same odds as Aaron freaking Nola, who's hurt, and Seiya Suzuki, who's on a losing team. And Corbin Burns, who's a pitcher, and Max Scherzer, who's a pitcher. Okay, Brian Hayes, a losing player on a losing team. I shouldn't say losing player, but he's on a losing team. Bellinger on a losing team. Chris Bryant on a losing team. So, Will Smith 150-1 would be the crazy value pick. And if Bryce is back sooner than expected, 80-1 is actually a really good number. JT Realmuto at 80-1 is pretty good too. But I do like Nolan Arenado at 12-1. AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani's plus 220. He's the favorite. Aaron Judge is 7-1, the repeat. Where's my guy at? Who I picked? Where is he? He's 15-1, Jose Ramirez. There he is. That's good value. I like that a lot. He should be like 10-1, maybe in single digits. Other value guys, Corey Seager, 45-1. I love the Rangers this year. And then a triple-digit long shot one that's worth it. Matt Chapman, 150-1 if he bounces back to the same guy from the Oakland days. Gleyber Torres, 200-1 is pretty good too, if he's close to the 2019 player. So, the crazy long shot ones that I like, I actually like two of them in the 100 range. I like Matt Chapman at 150-1. I like Jeremy Pena at 120-1 as well. National League Cy Young, Sandy Alcantara's the favorite at 5-1. Corbin Burns 6-1. JV 7-1. Scherzer 8-1. Strider's 10-1. The value pick has got to be Max Fried at 12-1. Like, why are my award picks not in single digits? Which is wild to me. And then crazy value, like in the mid-50s for NL Cy Young, Joe Musgrove, 50-1. I like from the Padres if he comes back sooner than expected. Clayton Kershaw's 80-1. Tony Gonsolin, career year last year, 80-1. And then a triple-digit long shot that I like. Do I like anybody in the triple digits in the National League side that I think? Miles Mikolas, if he's back sooner than expected from injury at 200-1. Maybe. Ranger Suarez, 200-1 if he's back sooner than expected on Philly. So those would be the two. And Justin Steele on the Cubs, 200-1. Sneaky. Great value, too. AL Cy Young, DeGrom's the favorite, plus 550. Cole's 7-1. Cease 9-1. Ohtani's 11-1. And in my pick, Alek Manoah's 12-1. Value play in the middle numbers. I would say the value play would be, there's a couple I like. Logan Gilbert at 40-1 on the Mariners. and Lucas Giolito at 50 to 1 from the White Sox. And then in the hundreds, if there's anybody with value, if Luis Severino back sooner than expected from injury, maybe 100 to 1 there. Same for McCullers, same for Kopech even. Martin Perez, I don't expect him to repeat the year he had last year. I don't like any of the guys in the hundreds in the American League, to be honest. Maybe Fried Detmers has a breakout year on the Angels at 200 to 1. Same for Jeffrey Springs on Tampa. Garrett Whitlock on Boston. So my favorite one in the hundreds from a value standpoint, maybe Eduardo Rodriguez, 110 to 1 from the Tigers. American League Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson's the favorite, plus 270. Masataka Yoshida, 6 to 1. Anthony Volpe, 650. K-Sauce, 9 to 1. Value play would be Grayson Rodriguez at 13 to 1 if he's called up in mid-April, early May. Logan O'Hoppe at 18 to 1 is good value. Anyone in the 50s I like. Maybe Bo Naylor at 35 to 1 in the near 50s. Emerson Hancock would be the crazy value pick in the 100s. 150 to 1. Emerson Hancock on the Mariners. Jack Leiter on Texas, 200 to 1. Whoo, that's a fun one. National League Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll's the favorite, plus 350. Jordan Walker, plus 390. Kodai Senga is 8 to 1. My pick, Francisco Alvarez, is 16 to 1. I like that a lot. That's good value. In the middle ways, I like 40 to 1 Hayden Wesneski. And then in the hundreds, do I like any of these? A lot of these guys I have predicted to be traded. Maybe Michael Busch at 100 to 1 on the Dodgers would be a good one. Or Gavin Stone, maybe, if he's not traded. Season specials. Best regular season record. The Braves are 5 to 1, so are the Astros. If there's a value play for best regular season record, I would say it's the Guardians at 39 to 1. Weak division, great pitching staff, so that's a great value pick for best record. Worst record. The Nats are the favorite, plus 260. A's are plus 270. Rockies 5 to 1. Reds 7 to 1. Detroit 750. The value play here, I am probably going to get killed for this because I know that there's listeners to the podcast who root for this team. The Boston Red Sox hit plus 150 to 1 for worst records. Good value. I'm sorry. That's funny. I don't see it being the Cubs. So the valuable pick is the Red Sox at 150 to 1. The case is that their pitching's atrocious. Chris Sale doesn't pitch a lot. Orioles better than expected. The Yankee guys stay healthy. Toronto's better. And Tampa's Tampa. So 150 to 1 for the Boston Red Sox is actually pretty good value for the worst record. And the other one that has value is probably the Royals at 13 to 1 in terms of like a shorter value number, because that's a bad team as well. All right, player specials. The home run leader favorites, Aaron Judge plus 550, Schwarber's 950, Trout's 10 to 1. If there's a value play for the home run leader, I'd say Austin Riley at 20 to 1 is good value. Yordan Alvarez 11 to 1 too. If there's like a longer shot, maybe Salvador Perez at 60 to 1. He led the league in home runs in the past. And then in the triple digits, if there's anybody, maybe George Springer at 100 to 1 from the Blue Jays, or Matt Chapman at 160 to 1. Regular season strikeout leader, Garrett Cole's the favorite, plus 550. Corbin Burns is 8 to 1, so is Spencer Strider. Dylan Cease is 10 to 1, so is Max Scherzer. DeGrom's 11 to 1. Nola's 15. Ohtani 17 to 1. Shane Bieber 20 to 1. Good value, by the way. So is Alcantara, too. In like the middle of the pack, I'm going to say Luis Castillo at 40 to 1 is good value. In the hundreds, Joe Musgrove 120 to 1. Fried 120 to 1. Whoo! That's a good one. Max Fried 120 to 1. And then the stolen base leader, Acuna is the favorite at 5 to 1. Esteury Ruiz is 7 to 1. Cedric Mullins 11 to 1. So does Alberto Mondesi and Trey Turner. Maybe Anthony Volpe at 23 to 1. That's decent value. And in the middle of the pack, maybe Michael Harris at 60 and then triple digit value. Maybe Tim Anderson at 200 to 1. That's really good value. Good leadoff hitter on the White Sox. I think that is excellent value. And there's a lot of over-under props and such as well. So now I'm going to do my 5 favorite futures and bet them. And depending on the price, I'm going to do it. All right. My first value bet. I'm going to bet on, from a value standpoint, the best record in baseball to be the Cleveland Guardians at 39 to 1. I'm going to lay a fifth of a unit on the Guardians to have the best regular season record at 39 to 1. I just think that's excellent value there. My next favorite one in terms of a future. I am going to bet a quarter of a unit the Guardians to win the American League at 12 to 1. I think that's great value as well. My third future that I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet on Jose Ramirez to win the AL MVP, a quarter unit on it at 15 to 1. So it's a lot of Guardians bets. I know. Now I'm going to do a fun word pick that I have too. I'm going to bet it. 16 to 1, Francisco Alvarez, a quarter unit to win the National League Rookie of the Year. And then my last one, I am going to bet a win total, and I'm going to lay a half unit on my favorite win total that I saw. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the Angels under 57.5 or 82.5, not 57.5. My goodness, I would bet the over at that number. But I'm going to lay a half unit on under 82.5 wins for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And then for fun, I'm going to do a 3-way parlay of division winners. Or multi-way parlay. The Guardians at plus 115. The Blue Jays at 2 to 1. I'm going to parlay a couple of these. And the Padres at plus 120. And I'm actually going to do one more. And I'm going to put the Braves in there too. And I'm going to lay a quarter unit on it. And that's going to be a fun payout. So, again, the Guardians to win the Central, the Jays to win the East, the Padres to win the NL West, and the Braves to win the NL East. Altogether, that's a little over 27 to 1 plus 27.38. I'm going to lay a quarter unit on it. So that's a fun little 4-way future right there. All right, so that's it for the 2023 Major League Baseball predictions 2-part show. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to look back at this in the fall and see how I did.